Hey buddy, SomeNutzGuy here. Hope you're having an awesome day so far, and welcome back for more DawnCraft. In this episode, or in this video, we're going to try and teach you how to make a mob farm and XP farm using Ars Nouveau and have it fully automated for you. There's quite a few steps to this. I'll try and run through it as quickly as I possibly can, and there will also be other videos that I might refer to that I might create in future that will link to explaining other elements like creating spells and whatnot in more detail. But this is going to be all-inclusive as much as possible. Okay, here we go. So first things first, what you'll need is we're going to be using Drygmy, these little dudes, and we're going to be using starbunkles to automate. Basically, we need source to allow the Drygmy to use their ability, and the Drygmy are the ones that farm the resources and experience off of the mobs. So first things first, we'll need to get some starbunkles and some Drygmy. Now, to get Drygmy, you need to find Drygmy out in the wild. Drygmy can be found anywhere in the wild, no specific biome, often found tending to animals. Now, when you find a Drygmy in the wild, you'll need to drop it a Wilden horn. Just throw it off, and it will pick it up, disappear, and then drop you a couple, 1 to 2 Drygmy shards. My starbuncle just collected that. This is not a wild one, hence why it didn't do what I just said it would do. Now, to get a Wilden horn, you'll need to kill a Wilden hunter. Wilden hunters look like this. There's 3 different variants of Wilden. This is the Wilden hunter. This is the guy that drops the horns. So you get the horn, and then probably what you want to do is when you have some horns, just keep it in your backpack. And anytime you find, and you want, the more of these, the better. So you want to keep loads in your backpack. Anytime you find these guys, drop them Wilden horn, get your starbuncle, you get your Drygmy shards. To get starbuncle shards, and these are the guys that are going to help automate the source, and the source is going to power the automated farm. So to get these guys, all you need to do is something very similar. When you find these guys out in the wild, you just drop them a gold nugget, and they will pick it up and disappear and give you sort of 1 to 2 starbuncle shards. Now, once you got your Drygmy shards and your starbuncle shards, you'll need to create the Drygmy charm and the starbuncle charm. To do that, you'll need this setup with an enchanting apparatus and 8 arcane pedestals around it. And then you'll need to follow this recipe for the Drygmy charm. There's a bunch of different fish options there. There's a bunch of different seed options there. Then these foods plus the source gems. I'll cover basic Ars Nouveau stuff in a different video if you don't know how to do this stuff. That's going to come out probably later though. And then the starbuncle charm's much easier. You just throw in the 3 source gems with the 5 golden nuggets. Then once you've put those items around the outside, then you put your Drygmy shard in the middle, and then you just wait a few seconds like this. Pop the starbuncle shard in. This is creating a starbuncle charm, and then just a few seconds later, it will poop out a starbuncle charm for you. Perfect, got our starbuncle charm. Now that we've got this, we need to put our starbuncle down. Now, starbuncle have a number of sources, and you just use the charm and right-click on the ground. That'll produce the starbuncle there, and they have a number of uses. You can use them to move items from one chest to another. You can use them to just pick up items off the floor and put them into a chest, or you can use them to farm source berries. Now, this is what we're going to use for it. So we're going to use the starbuncle to farm source berries, and then we're going to use the agronomic source link to create source. So what this does is this creates source, which is energy for spells, for magic stuff from Ars Nouveau, from the growth of plants. So the agronomic source link creates source from the growth of plants. The starbuncle farm the source berries and deposit those into a chest, or in this case a backpack, and that is the automated process which creates the automated energy source. To get the starbuncle working, all you got to do is use the Dominion wand, which is easy to make, and then you right click on it, and then you right click on the chest, or you crouch right click on the chest. So you right click the starbuncle, then you crouch right click the chest or the storage block, and then it'll go off and start farming source berries. The reason I use the backpack is, 1, you can get stacking upgrades, and then if you have the void upgrade, you can basically just void the items. Otherwise, you're going to have to empty it periodically, and emptying this is a pain in the butt. So this will just keep going forever now because of the void upgrade. You'll need to set the filter for the void upgrade. So if you have the void upgrade, you click the void settings, you'll just need to pop a source berry in there, and then have it to void any and allow, so that it actually voids the items. The area the starbunkles will farm is quite large, as you can see. I'm not exactly sure. They do seem to be farming all the way out to the edges here, so it may be like a 10 by 10, like a 10 radius. So it's a pretty large area that they'll farm, and that will produce a lot of source. Now, I'm not sure on the exact radius that the agronomic source link will send source to, but something like this works just fine. So you've got the agronomic source link next to the farm. The agronomic source link will send source to these jars, and then the jars will send source to this. And this will basically need the source access to be able to recharge the Drygmy's ability, and the Drygmy's ability is what farms the experience and the items. So, to get your Drygmy in your area, now that you need a mossy cobblestone. Once you got your mossy cobblestone placed, you'll just get the Drygmy charms that you created earlier and right-click one of the charms on the mossy cobblestone, and this will turn into the Drygmy henge, like so. Now you got a buddy, and now you can just put all your Drygmy Drygmy charms in here, and it'll spawn all your Drygmy. Now, these Drygmy are going to be linked to this henge and should stay within a 10 by 10 radius around this. And that 10 by 10 radius is their workspace. Now, they will gather experience gems, greater and regular, as well as items from any mobs within that 10 by 10 radius, and they will be more efficient the happier they are, and their happiness is dependent on the number of entities and the variety of entities in that 10 by 10 radius. So now what we would need to do is trap mobs that we want to farm items from and get them in this space here. The easiest way to do that is with the cage trap. The cage trap is pretty easy to craft. With this recipe, it just takes some iron and some wood. Pretty simple. Now, how this is used, let's use an Enderman, I guess, as the example. Now, how this is used is you just place it on the floor, and if a mob walks over it, it'll trap them. Now, one thing that you can use to make this easier is the pull spell. So in your Ars Nouveau spell book, you can unlock a glyph called pull. You can amplify it if you want to, and have that as a projectile. So that will then send a projectile that pulls any mob that it hits towards you. And that's quite useful for pulling mobs into the cage. Now, you also need to name the mobs once you get them in your farm, or before you get them in the cage. You'll need to name them at some point, so they don't despawn. There is a name spell. You can also projectile name spell, and this will name the mob the name that the spell is named, if that makes sense. So you don't need to use name tags, you can use the name spell. So as an example, what we'd want to do is get our Enderman there, and then we'd use the pull spell to pull them into their box, like that. Then we can use you then pick up the box. I have the break spell, but you won't have the break spell. You can just mine it with a pickaxe or an axe. And then this might not be tall enough for the Enderman. So then we'd then put the Enderman in here and right-click the top. And you now got your Enderman in a cage. We'd now then rotate over to the name spell and just spam the name spell in there to make sure we get that name on him. There's been a few times that didn't work, so you might want to go from the top and just make sure that name hit him. But homie should be chill now. He should stay there, and we should be able to be farming stuff from him. We should get ender pearls and experience gems. A few examples of mobs you might want to get might include blazes, ghasts, potentially. Ghasts will be a very good option. Might want to get Wilden Hunters, because these will get the horns for you to allow you to get more Drygmy. Perhaps Stalkers and Guardians, as these are needed for certain Ars Nouveau things. You know, you can get Wither Skeletons, although they don't give you skulls, unfortunately, it just gives you bones. And as you can see, these guys then start to dance, and green stuff starts to happen, and this means that they're farming properly. Now, I wasn't doing it when I just had the Enderman down. I know someone in my Discord has been farming Ender Pearls with this, and I don't know, maybe I just messed something up in my creative world with a command that I did earlier or something, but the Enderman was being a bit weird. You need to make sure you make sure you name all these guys with your name spell so they don't despawn. And I'm continually looking for good options to add to this farm for the items. One particularly great option is the red jewel here. So there's blood and mass weapons, and I'll probably do a guide on these at some point. But like the Chikage here, you see it says Chikage +3. I've upgraded this with a hunter's table, hunter's desk. I can't remember what it's called. And this needs a specific material. These, the bloodstone shards. And you can farm these out in the world, or you can farm them with your Drygmy. This is an item called the red jewel. The red jewel is crafted like this. Some stuff. Oh my god, this guy scared the crap out of me. And this is essentially a Blood and Madness boss that drops all of the materials except for the final material you need to upgrade your blood and mass weapons. So as an example, you can spawn this guy in here. So this is actually a mini boss from the Blood and Madness, and you can spawn him in there, and he will actually be farmed, and you can get the different materials that you need to upgrade your blood and mass weapons. Now, there are some things that I tried that don't work how I wished. I did try Vindicators. You don't get emeralds from Vindicators. I tried the Wither Skeletons. You don't get Wither Skulls. But guys, experiment with this. Try different mobs. Let me know if you find anything that's particularly useful. And I think I've pretty much covered everything here. I think that's everything. So, in terms of the gems themselves, they grant a decent amount of experience. You can right-click them to gain to use one. Yeah, you can click to use one, or crouch right-click to use all of them. And you can see you get quite a decent amount of experience from a stack of those. If you have these running, if you set this up early on in your playthrough, you have it running. By the time you've got sort of enchanting set up, ready to go. Oh, yeah, you'll definitely want to close these off, of course, because this guy can shoot lasers at you. This guy has wolves that come out. But yeah, by the time you've got enchanting set up, if you've set this early on, you should have a bunch of XP that can help you in the early stages of enchanting, or for whatever you might need experience for. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. It's always great to see you in the comments, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Take care. SomeNutzGuy. Grab gaming by the nuts.